What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster-in-chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with another episode of Serious Jank. You know, it's that kind of jank that's actually pretty serious. And without further ado, it's time to jump into tonight's brew. There was a few options, definitely. These three here at the top end I've been tinkering with, and there's also something that can be said about the clerics over here. But in the end, I decided to go for the Spellthief because it's a version 2, and I've refined it. And, you know, yes, Serious Jank is jank, but like I always say, it also needs to be a little bit serious. It can't just be like total, absolute rubbish. And, you know, the elves and the clerics, and that can also be said about most of these tribes that we got a lord for, need a bit of additional members. And I believe that we're just less than a month away from the new set coming, and we will have those members. So I'll probably leave the more tribal themed stuff for a little later in the month. But for now, I know we have just done a Spellthief brew on another episode of Serious Jank, but this time it's a lot more serious and a lot less janky. And so, let's jump right into it, shall we? Ivy, the Gleeful Spellthief, is the main card in the deck. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy herself, you may copy that spell, and the copy targets Ivy. I've shrunken it down, refined it, streamlined it, made it as efficient as possible. The deck just really features 16 creatures and 24 non-creatures. We have a full playset of the Illuminator Virtuoso, which of course loves to be targeted because then you get the connive going, and whenever you target it, whatever you target it with is going to end up on the Ivy as well. We also have a full playset of the Stormchaser Drake, which, also loves to be targeted because whenever you do, you get to draw a card. And that's obviously fantastic and acts as our main card draw engine. And we've also got a full playset of Dorothea, the Vengeful Victim, which, man, I can't speak well enough about this card. I just wish that this deck had been a thing, because it's really, really, you know, if Azorius, you know how much I rag upon Azorius, and because Azorius has always just had this like, oh, it's a control color combination, but Azorius tempo with spirits, I wish it had been a thing, because this card is just so damn sweet. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you sacrifice it at the end of combat. So, you know, most of the time you're just playing it out as a 2-mana 4/4 if you've got no better play on turn 2, which is great, can block a lot of good things, and then once it blocks, it ends up in your graveyard. But then you can disturb it for a very cheap cost of 3 mana, 1 colorless, and an Azorius, and it becomes an enchantment aura, as all of the disturbed cards from Crimson Vow do. And the creature that you enchant, whenever it attacks, it creates a 4/4 white spirit creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. So, of course, if you can attach a Dorothea's Retribution onto, let's say, for example, your Illuminator Virtuoso, and you've got an Ivy Gleeful Spellthief in play, Dorothea's Retribution will get copied and attached onto the Gleeful Spellthief as well. And then the next time you attack, you're not only attacking with your 2 creatures, but you're also creating 8 additional power in the air, which is game-ending stuff. And it's obviously amazing because of the connive that we're having both via the Illuminator Virtuoso and Security Bypass, which is another great aura, which again, you can target the Illuminator Virtuoso and get onto your Ivy Gleeful Spellthief. You can also connive with that. So if you need to discard something, you might as well discard the Dorothea, because not only will you get the additional +1/+1 counter on whatever's conniving, but you'll also put it in the yard where you kind of want it, because then the next turn you can disturb it onto your Virtuoso and double get it onto your Ivy as well, and do the swing that I previously mentioned. So really, really nice card in the deck, I think. Like, honestly, I'm surprised we don't see this more often in these Virtuoso decks, which was kind of pewtered off and disappeared off the face of the map, because there was a point in Standard where I was running into this very, very often, and they were either in Selesnya colors when we still had Pathways, or Azorius, and now I think with the IV Spellthief, it makes perfect sense to run it in Bant, which is great because it's two of the colors that got Pain lands, so very great mana actually, and it's also got a Triome, so mwah! And we've managed, because it's incredibly low to the ground at 1.6 average mana value, to tone the lands down to 20. I found myself flooding if I had any more than that. And the rest of the deck is really just ways to ensure that these important creatures, your Virtuoso, your Drake, and your Ivy, remain on the battlefield. So we've got a full playset of Boon of Safety, which is great, especially when you're targeting, let's say, your Stormchaser Drake, because you target it, you get to scry. Then if you don't like what you see, you can put it to the bottom of your library, as scry does, and then you get to draw the next card. So because when you're targeting the Stormchaser Drake, you're drawing a card, but you get to scry before you draw it, and that's insane. And also, you know, make it so that your creature gets a shield counter, which makes it indestructible for 1 damage. It being damaged once, something like depopulate or what have you, it'll just remove the shield counter and your creature remains on the battlefield. But it doesn't end there. We've got Homestead Courage, of course. Makes perfect sense in this deck as well. With the Connive, it's a flashback card. I love the vigilance on it. I love the fact that you can target your Virtuoso and get your IV. I mean, it's just obviously just fantastic in the deck. +1/+1 and vigilance. So you get to attack and hold up blockers. Amazing. Then we've got a full playset of Shore Up. Instead of what was in the previous iteration of the deck, I was running Slip Out the Back because we still had to deal with the Meathook Massacre. And we wanted ways to phase out our creatures. With Shore Up, I think it's honestly better because you can attack in. If you don't have vigilance via the Homestead Courage, what have you, the opponent might feel safe and swing in with something small. You can shore up your Illuminator Virtuoso, and at the same time, it'll also get copied onto the Gleeful Spellthief. Now you suddenly have 2 blockers that not only gained hexproof, it also got bigger. And that's just fantastic. Then a full playset of Tamiyo Safekeeping, which is one of the best reasons to be splashing green in what is essentially a blue-white deck, because of the indestructible, the life gain, the hexproof, just incredible. We have essentially got 1, 2, 3, 4, if you include the Take Up the Shield, ways of making sure that we're either getting hexproof, indestructible, getting bigger. It's just, it's really great. Which brings us to the last one of these, Take Up the Shield, which I have mentioned once or twice. I think probably the last time I talked about it was in the last IV Spellthief brew. Take Up the Shield, +1/+1 counter. So like that on a Virtuoso is just insane. Plus lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Amazing. Freaking amazing. There's an argument to be made here about maybe instead of this Take Up the Shield, there's another card that I really like that might just, we may end up just splitting it as a 2 and a 2, is Revelation of Power. So it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it has a counter on it, it also gains flying and lifelink. And that on your Virtuoso is obviously freaking amazing, because if you can give it some sort of, we don't have Charge Through, which was the 1 mana green card that we had before rotation, which gave the Virtuoso Trample. So if there was one card in the deck which I might consider taking out, it would be Take Up the Shield instead of Revelation of Power. Just take out the full playset and put it in the other playset, because more often than not, the thing that you'll be targeting is the Virtuoso, and it will have a +1/+1 counter on it, or one of your other cards that you will have given a +1/+1 counter to, thanks to Homestead Courage. And so, or the security bypass with the Connive. So more often than not, it'll be getting flying and lifelink as well. So I just wanted to showcase Take Up the Shield because it's a newer card. But otherwise, yeah, like I said, if I were to pick, maybe we'll split it 2 and 2, or we might end up just cutting this one altogether. But those are, left to some brew labifications for you know, later in the video if necessary. But for now, that is the deck. Very, very low to the ground, very tight-knit, you know, 4 of everything. I love this type of stuff. We still get to run 1 Eiganjo, 1 Otawara, 1 Boseiju, 1 of each basic land, and a collection of duals and triomes that I think are the right numbers to be able to cast all of our things on curve. You want to be playing... The only issue that I have with this deck is because of the prevalence of things like mono red aggro, which runs a lot of cheap removal spells, and mono black with cut down, you want to play your important creatures, which there are few of, and you don't want to waste them on turn 3, because then you can play it, because all of our creatures are 2 mana creatures, and still hold up one of our plentiful 1 mana, you know, save your creature spells. But turn 3, in some cases, might just be a little too late. So, just something to take note of. If you see that the opponent isn't playing red or black, or, you know, yeah, really red or black, you could probably take the risk against the white and green, you know, Selesnya. They might take until turn 3 to play their borrowed time or whatever, or, you know, blue-based shenanigans, whatever. It should be fine. But against black and green, you probably want to... black and red, you probably want to be playing your creature down on turn 3 so that you have an additional mana open to then protect that creature. Otherwise, there's a high probability that that thing will get removed, and then your whole plan falls apart. And that is probably the only downside in the deck. You want to be on the play and be able to do that as quickly as possible. If you're on the draw, like most of these types of decks, it starts to feel a little bit less performant. But that is it as far as tonight's janky brew, Spellthief version 2. And it's about time that we jump into some games. Of course, Serious Jank episodes will be played on the unranked ladder, unless it's very serious and not so janky. But tonight we're, yes, definitely leaning more on the serious side than the janky side, but it is also, yeah, definitely not top tier meta stuff, and I do not really care about my rank, but I also just want to actually win some games, so here we are. So our protection spells are in white. Our lands are black, are green and blue. We're on the draw. I think we're going to mull that one. Perfect. Even better. I was thinking of just playing it out against green, but I was worried about like a third land being red or something like that. Green land? No, let's go for this and this. And we're holding up Shore Up and Boon of Safety, potentially. So what would be best? Hexproof and +1/+1? I would say so. Hopefully he doesn't have another one up his sleeve. Because, oh, he definitely does. Cheeky bugger, instant speed. Let's chuck the Dorothea away. We've got backup Illuminator. But that is a very beefy Kodama. I highly doubt he has a third one. Nice. Let's block Indestructible. Dorothea number 2. I'll take out your 4/4 and gain a bunch of life. Thank you very much. Oof. And we get to hold up green mana. Let's make it as big as we possibly can. Swinging for 8, 12. Oh, actually, seriously, guys, might be a little bit more serious than janky. I think there's actually something to this. I've been having the funnest wins, like, and if you get the Spellthief down as well, and your spells are getting, you know, copied for free, whew, and that shore up is no joke. Swing in, the opponent feels safe, they think they're going in for the kill, and then you just shore up, both creatures untap, bigger with hexproof, and boop, 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 boop. Feels fantastic. Frail? Frale? Frally? That looks freaking-tacular, my friend. Farmland into Adarkar Wastes. Oh, okay, so this is our worst enemy. We can't play it out on turn 2 because it will get removed. So we have to wait until turn 3, at which point important things are happening. I guess we can Boseiju the Kimono. What do you reckon? Give him an extra land or not? Then next turn we can play the Virtuoso and still hold up green for safekeeping. Yeah. You want to take as little damage as possible against this deck. Even though that might mean they can now, like, cast their Thundering Raiju next turn. At least we got safekeeping. No. No. Colorless. White. Watch that auto tapper, guys. I'm telling you, it's a problem. We might have another copy of Play with Fire. No, okay. It's a bit of a, yeah, again, mono red, big problem. Cheap removal. Play with Fire, and our game plan is gone. He can make a dragon now. 3, 4, 5. Yes, he can. He has to actually, he's reading his own card. You have to actually attack with it. Dragon, bad. Very bad. Shocklands, Painlands, no bueno. But this will gain us 2 life. We put the Boon on the Virtuoso. Okay, he's gonna go for the tap out. What about... Oh, that was a huge misplay. Whoops. That was a huge misplay. My bad. We'll take out the battery. We still take 10 next turn though, which is bad. Obviously. Some trample would be good. I'm trying to think now in green if we have anything that's cheap and instant speed that can do that. Well, you can't attack with Squee, can you? Well, you might just do that. We take 11. And that was ridiculous. The Goro Goro, very nice. Haven't seen that in any mono red deck, honestly. Oh, bugger. Nice. Very nice. Well played, opponent. I like your version of mono red. That was sick. That was sick. Twin Inferno. Go have a look at the Balmore budget brew from a couple days back. Sick ass card. Needs to see more play. I highly recommend it. Double strike. Doubling up an instant or sorcery. Such good versatility in so many decks that play red. I really couldn't praise the card enough. We need a 1-mana save spell, otherwise we're looking at turn 4 unless we see not black or red. Fingers crossed. We draw an untapped land or a 1-mana. Ooh, okay. So maybe Virtuoso. Well, there's the 1-mana save spell. So maybe mono blue ninjas or something. Yeah, shuffler's fine, everybody. Okay, definitely ninjas. Now the question is it going to be black or blue only? Ninjutsu for sure. Let's draw a card. Okay, blue ninjas. I've actually seen more of this than I thought I would. Of late. Let's get some more blue going, and let's get a security bypass onto our good friend, the Virtuoso over here. really only have Boon of Safety, which is not fantastic. It's better than nothing. Yeah, he's going to tap down our flyer. And I wonder what he's going to ninjutsu in this time. Nothing. It's mono blue ninjas with nothing really going on. Please no counter spell. Yes. Very bueno. And 2 different save spells on the ready. Unblockable Virtuoso coming through for potentially a buttload of damage. Oh, whoops, huge misplay, my bad. I thought that was the other thing. That was a huge misplay. It's the one thing you need to take care of with the, however, that's still going to be the game. You know, the opponent's things targeting a creature, it's a symmetrical effect. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a creature, so it can be them hitting you with a Fading Hope, and I just misclicked there. Haven't been playing the deck enough to really know the ins and outs completely, but there we go. Something to keep note of. Can't control the cards you draw, but you can control how you react to them. Stay cool. Have fun. That is for shizzle, my nizzle. You definitely need to keep it together. Whew. Interesting hand. I'll take it. Let's see what happens. Engineering athlete. Yeah, I didn't think you'd see one of those on the field in a while, my friend. My dear fellow. 2 1-drops. No? Sure. It's legendary, so let's not do that. Let's just chill. Didn't think I'd see a mono white running anything of the sort, honestly. You're welcome to attack. I will block. No? Okay. That's an artifact. This is legendary. 1 mana Boseiju. Thought Commando is not a problem. Yet. Would love to get any one of our other creatures, honestly, at this point. Oh, that's no bueno. Okay. We're screwed. That is no bueno. How are we gonna get rid of this Enduring Angel? Okay. I'll take that trade. He's probably got another one up his sleeve. Oh, come on, mate. Give me a freaking creature, please. I mean, there are creatures, but... Enduring Angel number 2. No? That's the problem with this deck, always. Always has been, always will be. It's time for a shore up. Doesn't have first strike. Please give me a creature that isn't, you know, give me something that isn't. Oh dear. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? There's not much you can do. Taking at least 7 next turn. Getting very close to death. Yeah, I think we're just done for. Yeah. There we go. A clear showcase of why I think it's a bit problematic. There are these times when you get you get given these hands where the algorithm thought it was giving you creatures, but they're useless creatures that are only good for 1 block, really. And then you're left with nothing. Just drawing interaction the whole way through. Okay, at least we got a Drake. We need another against black. We definitely need another land. We got the land. So now it's become the Drake again as our first play. Oh, Orzhov, huh? Probably running Rite of Oblivion. Wedding invitation. Ooh. Tamiyos. Let's go. May have some instant speed. Draw a card. Nice. He'll probably let this through because he knows there's something up. And that's okay. Because then we get to hold up all of our stuff. Okay. Bad news. Okay. Probably should have gone for the boon, actually, in retrospect. Woohoo! So if we do this and grow our... We still have enough for both boon and white and blue. Yeah. Oh, I should have... Making mistakes. I should have played it onto the Stormchaser Drake as well. However, I'll probably shore up the Drake if they swing, and then boon the Drake as well. Draw 2 cards, give them both shield counters and hexproof, etc. Nice. Misa likey weather lighty. Very nice. Also, Misa likey you taking an extra damage. Goes back to the hand, but cannot cast it, but still very nice. Weatherlight, Paragon, Liaisa, little loop you got going on there, my friend. I cannot say I dislike it. Epic. God, I love Dorothea so much. That would have been a swing for... Whew, I don't even want to know. Because I would have also put the +1/+1 and vigilance on both of them. Very nice. How are we doing for time here? 40 minutes in. Alright, guys. I think that's going to be it for tonight. I think we got to showcase everything that the deck is supposed to do. We got some pretty sweet wins in. And our natural enemy, Mono Red, was the one, pretty bad matchup there. But otherwise, fantastic. And I think maybe, there's a way to fix this problem. My one thinking, my one train of thought was Falco Spara. Maybe just a couple of, increase the creature count. You can drop some of these down to 3 ofs. Again, maybe the take up the shield can be switched for that other life gain card, which I really enjoy, called... the Revelation of Power for the flying on the Virtuoso. But then you might need to increase the lands if you play the Falco Spara, and I don't know, I guess playing stuff off the top of your library is great and you'll have things with counters on them, but is it worth it? Maybe trim down some of these 4 ofs to 3 ofs and put in a couple of counter spells, maybe just some spell pierces and things like that. might be worth a try. Also, maybe some March of Otherworldly Lights. There was definitely lots of cards that could have gone in the deck that didn't. Because of my attempt to just play things that really just ensure that your creatures stay on the battlefield. We have Indestructible, Hexproof, Shield Counters, additional +1/+1, and life gain. I mean, between these, it's very, very difficult to get these creatures off the board. So maybe you don't really need to counter their spells. You just cast one of these. So let me know what you think. Is this actually something? Is it worth considering? Would you take this for a spin on the ladder? And have I done the mana base correctly? Those are all questions that I would love for you guys to leave an answer in the comments down below. But that is going to be it for this episode of Serious Jank with Ivy Spellthief version 2. I will be seeing you all tomorrow with another fresh brew. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.